I would say that the LGBT rainbow is fragmented in all kinds of ways. It's not only that the lesbians don't necessarily want to meet in a big group of gay men, or that the girl to male trans really can't cope with meeting with anybody. It's that it's stratified by age as well. And when you become retired, you find that nobody else really wants to know you. You become kind of invisible. You feel unwelcome in a pub. You may still have all the same sexual instincts, but nobody younger than you believes that you have them. So I think that's why there are a number of charities around that work with older LGBTQ+. Philip and I became involved because Newham has something called an aging well strategy. And when it was being debated, we had public meetings about what was happening. And I put my hand up and said, so how are you helping older gay and lesbians to age well? And people struggled to answer that. And then they came to me afterwards and said, well, why don't you start a group for older LGBT? And the council gave us quite a lot of support, like providing a space for us to meet in Stratford Library. And we started small, meeting on Wednesdays for coffee and support. And we gradually developed from there into research, finding out what the issues are. We found out as a result of research that many older LGBT, if you ask them what their major medical conditions are, they're not physical, they're anxiety and depression. If you ask them, what's the major thing about being older LGBT? Two things. Isolation, loneliness. So those are big things, and so we set up our group to try and work with those. So little by little, we try and get enough money to do more and more things. So recently we started having a Sunday lunch for older LGBT. Everybody liked the idea, but not the food. So we'll work on that and make it come right. So I think we started off with 4 people. Now I think we have 50 on the books. People who come when they want to, when we're doing something right. So when we have our garden party, there'll be loads of people. People will come to the picnic in Forest Gate. But meeting for tea and coffee and support, there are some people who need that, others who don't.
I think it's much more accepted to be openly gay now than what it was when I first came up. I've never really experienced any issues in my private life with being gay, but I have in my working life. For a while when I was studying, I did security to pay for the course, and I found it incredibly difficult to be gay there. Almost hostile, and so I'm glad I left that environment. I don't know what it's like now, because that was about 35, 40 years ago. Whether or not it's still the same, whether or not people still experience the same problems that I had. Later in my working life, when I worked for the DWP, they've got proactive gay policies, so it's more comfortable to be gay in the DWP than what it was in other jobs that I've had. And similarly, when I was a housing officer, possibly because I worked for a large charity, they had policies in place for diversity as well. My private life, possibly because I've always stayed on the gay scene and never gone into the mainstream, I've never really experienced any issues of being gay, not from neighbours, nor from friends previous to when I moved to London. So I've been quite lucky in that respect. I think it's important that we're accepted for what we are, and probably the only way you're going to get that is education, or educating people. I don't think they're going to educate themselves, and I don't think the government will be able to do it the way they want to do it. I think you have to go out into the community and engage people directly, and just try to put your point of view across. I think London is a city of minorities, so it's difficult to reach everybody, but that shouldn't stop people from trying.
During the 70s and 80s, you are not so, you're more closeted, isn't it? You can't come out and say things so freely, or whereas in the 80s, after, I mean, when people allow you to, no, I think that the country, isn't it? You're free to be a gay person. It's not against the law anymore. When the law is changed, you become more liberal, more able to do things without being frightened that somebody will know or talk about you and things like that. So there's that change of feeling freer, and it is very important because you don't want to be hiding your personal feelings all the time. You know, when you can't express who you are, but at least now you can say, yes, I'm a gay person and I'm very happy with my life. And so it feels much more relaxed, you know, and much happier in doing things with other people. You know, what I mean is socializing. You know, we have friends of who are the same, and we go out, we celebrate their birthdays and parties, and it makes a good life rather than being isolated or lonely. I think that one of the things about old people is that if they don't go out, you know, they become lonely, and that is the sad part. How to overcome that? You know, a lot of people. I mean, because I'm very conscious about it, aware about it, I try to tell people, to talk to people, and sometimes if I have got friends, I mean, I've got 2 or 3 friends recently whose partner has passed away, and so they're quite lonely, and I'm trying to get in touch with them and keep them sort of occupied with, and also go out with them, trying to have lunch and so that we have a chance to talk and, you know, and keep them occupied. I think it is very important, but we need to do more for people like that who are isolated, who are feeling lonely. I think it's one of the saddest thing in life is to be lonely, really. You don't have to, because you can always meet friends. I know friends are different, but they might be in the same position as you. They need to be stimulated as well, to know that they are alive, you know. I think that's the most important thing, I think, to mix with people and feel that you are still living and not, you know, isolated at home doing nothing. I think that's very important. If there's anything that can be done for people in our age, I think that's what we like to see happening. Social club is very important. I think having a social club with gay people then you can talk to each other and you can share your ups and downs, and you don't feel so lonely. I think that's important.
Well, I would say it was very different. I mean, I know some people might not like to think so, but I think it is. And I think it's probably easier now. Even 10 years ago, there was still a lot of homophobia around, I think. And it was never easy for me either, growing up as I did. I had two lovely parents, and I think, I always knew what I was. And on reflection, I think they both might have done as well, but they were waiting for me to say something, but I somehow never felt I could. So in the end, I waited till they both died. I know that might sound horrible, but after that, I did come out to my family, and I was surprised to learn that some of them, not necessarily immediate family, but cousins and nieces and that sort of thing, they said, well, they knew already. I just couldn't cope with that sort of thing. I didn't think anybody knew really. But yeah, I think it is easier these days. If I was doing it for the first time now, if I was coming out now, it'd probably be a lot easier than it was for me then. Does that make sense? Well, I think a little bit more. I mean, there's probably, you're always probably going to get the odd sort of homophobe. I mean, I don't think you ever get rid of that totally. But people are probably more tolerant now than they were 10 years ago.
Not often enough, actually, probably, but there's at least 2 or 3 things a month I can get into, like this meeting in the library, and there's another one, the Gay Outdoor Club. They have walks and things which I'm going on, and there's a few other things like that that I'm accessing and things. There may be more out there I haven't discovered, so, because I've only really been looking like this for about a year, as it were. There must be other things I can unearth and find, so I'll keep looking and keep pushing myself, because I don't want to become a hermit, But I think the gay scene can be quite isolating sometimes, I find. But it takes two to tango, so make the effort is what I have to do, and that's what I will do. Keep doing it and keep a smile on my face. And hope for better. Yes. Yeah, that's, But the other thing is, I find a big challenge for me is going to a gay pub on my own. It's a difficult one. In my 20s, before I knew anyone, it wasn't a problem. Some of the things I got up to then, well, we won't go into that now. But now it's more challenging, yeah. Going to a gay pub, and that probably because I'm not always that easy to, I find social interaction, some people find it very easy, I don't. I struggle with it, so going to a gay pub on my own, especially if you're a good 20 years old and a lot of people around you, a bit tricky. You have to pick the right pub, I suppose. Yeah, I think as an older gay person, sometimes everything's catered towards straights, and that's the implicit assumption. So when you access the services, you have to step out your way and say, I'm gay, and that can be awkward sometimes, because I'm not trying to wave the flag all the time, but you need to point it out sometimes just to explain the position. I don't know. And the other thing about older gay people, I think, is that you don't necessarily have a family around you as you get older. and you find yourself on your own more, you know. Whereas with a family around you, it's easier to connect to them, and I think that's common for a lot of gay people, especially gay men. Oh, not gay people, women as well, I expect. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know what the answer to that is, though. I don't know what the answer would be.
If you have two people that care for one another, I don't think the fact that it's in a same-sex relationship is any different. I mean, I've never been in a heterosexual relationship, so I wouldn't know. But it seems to me that there are no major differences. I would think it's quite as easy to have a relationship as a gay person or LGBT person as a straight one. Certainly, society makes it easier for opposite sex relationships or opposite gender relationships. But I never really found that I experienced, Bill and I as a couple ever experienced any particular problems. Having said that, we were never open with our immediate neighbours or anything. I think nowadays we would be, but there was a sense that of, you know, don't pee on your own doorstep and so on. So we weren't as out and as open and as visible as I think we probably would be nowadays. Of course, this was in the 80s and early 90s, and it's such a short time ago, relatively speaking, but in terms of all the changes that have happened, it is quite a long time ago. Society has become much more accepting. The generation of young people that are sort of between 10 and 20 now, the generation, they accept it just so readily. And normally I would be worried that as a generation gets older, they will become marked by the values of their elders and so on, and they will conform. But I don't think this generation will. I feel that there is 100% acceptance, and I don't expect that to change. I might be wrong, I might, you know, but I think that the whole attitude of society, the whole mindset of society has changed quite fundamentally in the last 30 or 40 years. And of course it had changed almost equally as fundamentally in the preceding 20 years before that. So in the last 50 years, certainly since the early 70s, when the gay pride marches and so on began, I mean, the society then was just so different from how it is now. And I'm glad I lived through it, and I'm glad I saw it all happen. My only concern for the future is that nothing lasts forever, that, you know, what comes up must come down, that I would love this to be permanent, but history tells us that it's unlikely to be so, but I hope that it will last for a very, very long time, you know.